Episode number 30 with Ben Reason.
I got X-ray specs for eyes, I can see right through you.
Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike 2.0.
Mike 2.0. Well, you got day 2 coming up. Day 2.
Well, 2.0 is just, there's a newer version of me emerging here. I feel it. I don't know what exactly. I have day 2 of the Planet Hollywood $1 million tournament coming up this afternoon. So this will be my last chance to turn this little poker trip into something profitable or break even.
Right on.
I've gone 0 for 3 this week. So, hopefully we'll run deep and make a little money today.
Well, they're already down to the top 11 or 12% of the field, right?
Yeah, the bubble should break pretty quickly, I think. I don't know. I heard they got 1,700 entries, and if 12% are returning, could be like a little over 200 returning and
170 pay or something.
Yeah, something like that probably. So
okay.
We'll see.
Cool. And how many bigs do you have?
I got 224,000 chips. We have 13 more minutes on the level with 4,000. So technically, I'm coming back to
40.
Whatever that is, 56 bigs.
Oh, 56. Okay.
56 bigs, yeah. But the level will soon be 2,500, 5,000, in which I'll still be, 44 bigs or whatever, 45 bigs.
Okay. Cool.
So I got a stack. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I looked quickly. There's a lot of chips at my table. But fortunately, there's 2 guys with heaps, but they're both on my right at least. I have the 5 seat, and these guys are in the 3 and the 4 seat.
Okay.
I haven't really looked. I looked quickly. I handed in the 2 guys who have all the chips, and they both got some good results. One of them looks like a real stud. Some young guy. He looks like he's like 24 from the picture I saw online, and I think he's got close to $1 million in earnings. So we'll see. Not my first poker tournament. Hopefully, I'll although I've organized my my last 24 hours here pretty poorly for this.
What's that?
Well, just running around. Yesterday, I was manic with my little new selfie camera, taking a couple videos. And so I was doing that, and then I decided to go out drinking with the boys and didn't return home until 4.
Oh, shit.
Now to get up for this, getting up for this is no problem. Of course, any time with you, Steve, is a pleasure.
It is.
But I also am meeting this other woman at noon to interview her, this writer / masseuse. Janine. I can't remember her last name. So I don't know. I might have trouble getting a little sleep before the restart, which is really, really stupid on my part. But whatever.
Well,
it is what it is.
Yeah, you've got a couple videos up on YouTube now. That's pretty cool. If you just type in Heads Up Poker Podcast, there'll be some of the first ones that come up, and you can subscribe on there. But you did an interview with what was her name? Lori
Persinger.
Lori Persinger, yeah. We'll have to bring her on the show. She seems like an interesting character. She's funny.
Yeah. Hopefully, if those want to go check out our, just check out the Heads Up Poker Twitter thing. You'll see Lori getting interviewed, and she's just a
little firecracker.
Yeah.
Yes. That's cool.
Cool. We want her to do a video blog is basically the essence of it.
Yeah.
She's good with that interviewing and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see where that goes. But we should talk about our guest here.
We're hiding our lead here. We've got a extra special guest for you today. We've got Ben Reason. He's a pro with TPE. Started playing poker when he was, I think, 14 or 15 years old. So he's been playing over 10 years. He's 25 now. And quite the stellar results. If you look him up on Hendon Mob, he's got a couple of WSOP circuit rings. Very accomplished. I met with him in person about a week or 2 ago at the TPE meetup. And he's excited to come on the show, so we're bringing him on.
Seeing how you stalk all the TPE pros, I'm surprised they let you into these things.
I am too, but they haven't caught on to my game yet, so let's not get
Yeah, you're the guy walking around with a trench coat looking for his next victim, and you were able to get us reel us in another fine pro here. So that's
I was 2 weeks in a row, Chris Moon and then Ben Reason. So
nice work, Stevie Wonder there.
Thank you, sir.
Stuff.
And you too with the YouTube thing. I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes.
You looked like one of those Japanese tourists with the selfie stick. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'm so like sensitive to people who like dislike me or negative. So we do get some comments about the show. It's like, can Mike stop the wine in the bit? Some of this kind of shit. So now that it's like me walking around talking about what I'm experiencing. I don't know. This morning, anyways, it's I was just like, oh my god. I can't believe I did those videos yesterday.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that again. And when I was Mike 2.0, I said, from now on, I'm not going to talk about my personal life at all. If Steve wants to do that, that's fine. I'm just going to come on and talk about poker hands. We'll see. That's very hard for a person of my personality, of course.
Oh, I think that'll last 5-6 minutes maybe. Then we'll be right back into it.
Is that a challenge?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what else is going on with you, Steve?
Let's see. I just finished my shift work, so a few busy days at work. I got 4 days off now, so today is Sunday, the day we're recording this. I'm going to start the Sunday grind as soon as we're done with the podcast. I am really looking forward to that. I haven't had an online grind in probably a month. Been out of the WSOP and then vacation, and so I am ready to rock. I was reviewing hands over the last couple of days, some past tournaments. I found a couple if we got time to talk about them.
Oh yeah, let's do a hand with you.
Okay.
I have one interesting hand to talk about with Mr. Reason.
Perfect.
I think, but other than that, I wish I was more diligent because then the $3,000 six max, there was a lot of, I thought, interesting hands going, and I had like a massive stack in that tournament. Like after level 4, we started with 15K in chips. I had like 53K, and I ended up going busto a few hours later. But yeah, but I wish I wrote some of the hands down. So, anyways, which hands do you have for us?
Okay, this is from a $30. Well, it wasn't a rebuy, but it was one where you can just re-enter, for the first several levels. I guess that is a rebuy. But anyways, okay, the blind levels are, let's see, 125, 250 with a 25 ante. So we're 9-handed. I'm in the big blind with King of Clubs, Jack of Diamonds. It goes around, and it goes to a guy in late position. He's in the hijack, and he has 42 big blinds. I have 26. He's got 42 bigs. I've got 26, and he min raises. He raises to 500. I only have 24 hands on the guy, and he's 67-36. So I don't even know if that matters. He could just be catching hands or whatever, because after 24 hands, that really means nothing. But he min raises, and then it folds around to me in the big blind. I've got King Jack offsuit. Total pot is 1100. I've got 6K behind. He's got 10K behind. Are you 3-betting here? Are you just flatting, or what's your thoughts? We're not folding.
No, I mean you can argue for both of them, I guess. I mean, you really don't know the villain that well. No.
Other than he's been active for 20-something hands.
I mean, I guess against certain villains. But 26 bigs is, I think, is too. It might be too deep to 3-bet. Call it off.
Okay.
I don't like to 3-bet fold to this guy with King Jack, especially if it's an active player, and so in that case, I guess probably just flatting.
Okay.
If he 3-bets, I don't know, especially in a rebuy, if you 3-bet and c-bet, and I'm going to hate to give away half my stack with this being the aggressor without, I'd almost rather just get it in pre-flop somehow.
Yeah.
King Jack flops well.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess if you want to, I don't know, if you think he's a weak player, then you don't need to hit the flop. You can take it down. I don't know.
If you were to 3-bet, what would it be? Like, what would your
He
size
made it.
be?
He made it 600.
He made it 500. He min raised it.
Oh, he min raised it. Usually 3x from the I don't know, 2.9x is. I mean, everyone has their different standards for what it should be. 2.7 to 3.2 and da da da. In that spot, I usually do like 14.55 or something like that.
Okay. I'm on the mark there then. Okay, I did end up 3-betting. I guess my reason was he was so active. I thought I could just take it down. But
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're out of position. Just take charge of the hand here.
Yeah.
With the hand that's ahead of his opening range, we assume. So.
And so I raised it to 15.55. I went a little bit more than 3x.
Okay, that's fine.
Then now he 4-bets me. He pretty much clicks it back, I guess. He re-raised it, so I made it 15.55. Now he makes it 26.10. So it's what is that? Less than 900 and something for me to call. I mean, I'm getting what is that? 4 or 5 to 1 on my money for a call.
Okay, I'm sorry. 1,500, and he made it what? 2,600.
He made it 26.
So if you were to call, you would have like 4,000 left, and there would be 6,000 in the pot.
That's about right. 55 in the pot. I got 37 left.
I guess I would probably just stop and go here. Call and just shove any flop, or if you actually hit top pair, let him get it in there.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't matter, but like I'm always like, okay, this is a fucking $30 rebuy.
Yeah.
This could be some sputard. I got King Jack. Again, if I'm today and I have 26 big blinds, with 50 players left in this tournament, and someone who is aggressive but not, raising every hand, I'm probably just going to call with King Jack and be very flop dependent, which is exploitable if hands that are Broadway hands, which is pretty strong, are just kind of calling and then folding flops. But so there's probably my approach for everything is wrong. But yeah, that's my first thought is just I started this hand with under 30 fucking bigs. I guess you really don't want to rebuy here. Was it 5,000 the starting stack?
5,000 is the starting.
Yes, I mean it's dependent. I mean I'm just like a rebuy machine. I just want to build a stack and get to the money bubble or in the money with 30 plus bigs. So these are all things that have nothing to do with the hand I'm giving you here. But I gotta be honest, that plays my part. So here, you're getting a ridiculous price, and I don't know. I mean, I guess you could, if you totally whiffed on this flop and folded post, you would have what would you have? 18 bigs left?
I'd have about that.
Or even a little less.
Maybe a little bit less.
It's hard to fold with the price. Give me the price you're getting 4 to 1 on a call or something, or
at least, yeah.
Yeah. Now is one of those spots. I'm sure you thought, well, I wish I just flatted, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
that was one of the reasons I brought this hand up. I'm like, should I just be flatting here? Do I ever raise or yeah, I was getting such a ridiculous price. I was at the same mindset as you. I'm like, okay, I guess I just engineered a stop and go here. I'm pretty much shoving any flop and then clicking the rebuy button if that happens. But yeah, I was like,
at this point, there's a lot of chips in there, and although he's probably at the top of his range. The click back looks really strong.
It does,
but with all the money in there, I mean, again, I'm not like a human equity calculator here. We'd have to run the numbers. But even King Jack against his, if he's got some, 9s and 10s in there and ace queens and kind of stuff, you probably still have 40% equity against his, whatever his 4-bet call range is. Although I don't know, I don't like shoving on the, depending with the villain, you don't really know. I'd still rather do the stop and go here. Just call and shove the flop. Unless I don't know what the nut worst flop is. I mean, I guess they're all bad, other than a king or a jack. If you get 3 low cards, but certainly on the flop, like I mean, if you want to be not shove everything, but like any gutter ball,
Yeah.
like any deuce 8-10 kind of stuff,
Yeah.
or deuce 8 9-10, you got a gutter ball and 2 overs kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, what did you do here?
Well, I flatted there, and then the flop. So I've got 37 behind, and there's 55 in the pot, and I thought it came about as good as it could for me. It aside from flopping 2 pair or something like that, but I've got the king of clubs, jack of diamonds, and I got the 4 of diamonds, queen of diamonds, ace of spades. And so I thought, okay, well, I got a gut shot to the nuts. I got a backdoor flush draw, and if he's getting crazy with 10s or something, then at least I got 2 overs. And so I kind of went with the plan, and I did the stop and go. And he snapped called. And what do you think he had?
Pocket 7s.
Pocket 9s. So that was surprising to me. I guess my line looked extremely weak.
He knows what you're up to here. So he's in the same way. This guy's probably going to shove any flop, and I've got a pair, and I'm going to call any flop.
Yeah.
And these are just, it's 2 competent guys who've played a bunch of hands online who just
who've seen this pattern many times before and recognize it.
I mean, yeah, you're both you both got decent hands, and he's in late position with a pair, and it doesn't matter what you're going to do here.
Yeah.
Although if you just flatted, I guess there's a decent chance you win this pot.
Oh, I think there's a very good chance I win this pot if I just flat. Because with ace, queen, 4 on there,
right?
I don't think.
He's if it goes check, he's calling your turn bet. You would have to go 2 streets and maybe.
I think on this flop, had I just flatted there, I either would have donk led or I would have check raised him. Possibly just check called and then maybe like fire on the turn, but I don't think he's continuing with 9s.
Well, you'd have to take an aggressive line. You'd have to either fire 2 bets. I was going to tell you that it would take 2 streets of aggression to take it down, but maybe just the check raise, which is very strong. Although, a lot of players will be suspicious of that. Like if he had an ace, why wouldn't you want him betting?
Yeah.
Why would you be Why would you be trying to? I mean, obviously, if you're balanced, sometimes you're doing that with nothing, and then sometimes you are leading out with your big hands. But yeah, I mean, I think you played it okay. Certainly, once he 4 bets, you can't fold, and you took a shot.
Yeah, but anyhow, yeah, that was why I brought up that hand. I'm like, do I ever, should I ever be 3-betting there, or should I just be 3-betting with crap that I can fold, or I don't know. He was so active, I didn't.
So he snapped. You said he snap called you.
He snap called, yeah. I remember that. I'm watching it on the replayer now, but I remember he snap called, and I'm like, 9s? Wow, okay, I guess I'm pretty transparent here. What am I doing wrong?
No,
there was no thought. It was
he just knew the amount of chips in the pot, and that he was committed to the pot too.
Yeah, I guess he was. Yeah.
So, although that's not the flop he wanted to see, certainly.
Yeah.
But in these, again. So what's your other hand? You have another one you said?
It's just a quick one. Okay, blinds are 250, 500. Looks like the ante is 50 because there's 400 in the middle and 8 players, so that would make sense. Okay, I am in the cutoff, and under the gun folds around to the hijack, who min raises to 1,000. Okay, I've got 58 big blinds. He's got 27. And let's see, the button has 22 bigs, small blind has 12, big blind has 17.
Okay, shove stacks behind you.
Shove stacks behind me. Now what I'm wondering is this a 3-bet spot?
What do you have? I'm sorry?
I've got 58 big blinds.
No, what's your hand?
King 2 off.
No. I'd fold.
Because if I raise here, I think the blinds have to have a pretty strong hand to shove. But I'll be committed to calling the small blind for sure. I don't think the big blind was 17 bigs. And then the guy behind me with 27, I've got 58. He's got to have a pretty strong hand to continue, and even if he does, I got position. No? Still not a good 3-bet? Just too crappy of a hand?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy fold, frankly. I mean, it depends how.
Now, what would you 3-bet with there?
What would I 3-bet there with?
Yeah.
I guess any ace, any Broadway cards. Mostly, I think I'm 3-betting for value there with 3 shove stacks behind me.
Okay.
I mean, let's do the math here. If I'm doing this correctly, let's say they're each. How often do you think they're shoving? They're each shoving maybe 20% of the time, 15%. What would you say?
You mean the button, small blind, and
yeah, just
big
each of them individually. Let's just figure this out.
Well, if there's a raise and then a re-raise right behind them, I think they're probably only shoving with 15%, maybe 10.
Okay, so
I mean, now I'm trying to put myself in that spot. You know, if there's a raise and then a re-raise behind me, I look down at ace 8 and I just think my hand's no good.
I think more than 10% though. I think, I don't know, personally for me, when again online people aggressive, I'm probably shoving. I'm certainly shoving ace 10 off.
Okay, yeah.
King jack suited.
Oh, really? You're shoving that?
Yeah, I think so.
What about queen 10?
I mean,
like
you're talking
queen 10 suited?
Yeah, maybe not. But again, it's in the day of the HUD. If we're talking about a guy who's opening, 30% for middle position, and a guy who's 3-betting 9%, which is you do, and you still have, you're ahead of both their ranges with king jack suited. So, well, if they're each, if I'm doing this right, if they're each folding 85% of the time. The chance of all 3 of them folding is only 61%. So your 3-bet and then all of them folding is only going to be about 61% of the time.
Huh.
If I'm doing this right. Again, I used to know how to do all these mathematical elements of poker 2 years ago, but then I just, I decided to become lazy and call myself a field player.
I think I might have fallen in the same boat. We need Jacob right now.
I don't know.
Jacob!
Yeah, Jacob. Exactly. What would I need? Christ. I need hemorrhoids. Thank you. No. Yeah, I don't know what my 3-betting range. I think I'm 3-betting there mostly for value. And I don't know. Are you flat? What would you play aces? Would you flat there and hope someone shoves? I think I'm going to 3-bet aces there.
Are you really?
Yeah. I mean,
I think if you flat, you're much more likely to get shoved on by one of the shorties.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, you do take the risk of them limping along, but I don't think 12 bigs is going to limp, especially not from the small blind. But the 17 bigs in the big blind, he's probably calling there at least 50% of the time.
Well, I don't know. In the high roller, I play on merge. You know what I mean? Against the regs with 3 people behind me, like I said, 61% of the time it's getting through. I would say, even to a raise, it's probably less than 50. Because of my 3-bet percentage is pretty high, and there's so much money in the pot, these guys will take a shot with 9-10 suited, even if I run into
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of funny here where I'm like, Steve, are you getting out of line? Because I'm the one you're the one usually looking at some of my plays and like, why would you do that? But you got a lot of chips here, and there's just better spots.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's that discussion
sounds
last
like
week.
Sounds like you 3-bet.
No, I didn't actually. I folded, and I was wondering if I missed a spot there. It was probably the conversation with Chris last week.
The idea of the king blocker.
Yeah, the king blocker, the ace blocker thing, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh, is this one of those spots that now the small blind and the big blind, they have to have a big hand to continue, and this guy's opening a lot? I don't know.
You're probably more competent, and like you have more poise and competence maybe in post flop play. Like I'm just. I'm probably gonna fire 2 barrels post flop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's always if I 3-bet, like it's like almost like I've already committed like a lot of chips to the pot, which is like an asinine way to look at it. But yeah, just because of the stacks behind you, I don't think it's a good spot.
Okay.
I'm trying to think how I would maybe see it differently. If it was, maybe if I don't know. I think I squeeze if, of course, this would make you more committed to the other stacks. But if there was a raise and then a flat, and you had like the button with only 2 people behind you, then squeezing with the king blocker. You know what I mean? There's more money in the pot, and there's you only have to get through 2 players rather than 3.
You mean if I was on the button?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't like that spot for whatever reason. I don't know.
Okay.
Suited maybe a little more, but it is an easy hand to get away from. Like
that's
if
the thing.
So that's the other thing. I mean, if it's like if you're only now the more I think about it, it's not. If there's only one stack you're committed to, and king high beats the average hand. King high alone beats 75% of the hands in poker.
Yeah, if he's doing that with queen jack or something. Then
well, not even. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying whatever his hand is, you're ahead. You're ahead of it. You're ahead of his just hand range, not his shoving range. So yeah, the more I think about it, and it's just easy to get it. It depends, like post flop, how you're gonna have to. A lot of people would just say, just give up on the hand if it's any sort of. But if you're just fire. How much did the original raiser? How many big blinds did he have?
He's got 27.
Yeah, now the more I think about it,
we always dissect the finest minutia. I mean, my logic was when I saw that, I'm like, maybe this is one of those spots. Okay, he opens there, min raises. He's got 27 bigs. I mean, if he gets crazy on that, I can easily dump the king too. I mean, this is an easy 3-bet hand because there's nothing I want to call with it except for the shorty with 12 bigs. If I 3-bet here to like, I'll have position. So let's say I 3-bet to blinds are 250, 500. He raises to 1,000. I 3-bet to like 2666 or something. And if the shorty shoves, he's only got 6,000. So I think I'm probably committed to calling him.
Well, that's why it's not an easy decision one, because you could you could get fucking flatted by the button with 17 bigs. I mean, I don't know, no, but everyone could fold. The original raiser could call.
Yeah,
and then you could have a board which seemingly would smack your range better than his or whatever, and you bet and you're like, okay, he's got like pocket sixes, and and maybe I can get him off on the turn to a shove, when the ace hits, kind of stuff. So yeah, no, it's never. I mean, you never know, especially if you're playing against good players. It's amazing how many different ways that players have of fucking around with you with like 17 bigs.
Yeah.
Like the 17 big guy could just click it back. 1,000 to 2,600 to 4,200.
Yeah.
Although it sounds great. I mean, you know what I mean? It seems like he's pot committed, and now, I mean, with aces or big hands, you think he would just shove, but then all of a sudden you're like kind of like the last hand. Well, I'm getting freaking 4.5 to 1 to call with king 3 off or whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I mean, overall, as a default strategy, you got a lot of chips, and it certainly isn't a great spot. But now I think about it, I can always be convinced that shoving chips in the pot is a good idea.
with horrible.
So,
hands,
but I like that you're looking at that, because of course last episode I was like, well, Steve, you say you're like your spots you're taking, but you might be, there's spots that you're just missing.
Yeah.
There's while you're eating beef jerky and massaging yourself in the corner. So is Mr. Reason available?
He is. Let me give him a call here.
Thank God. Let's talk to someone else.
Someone with some kind of reason.
I got a bionic brain, I can calculate your next move. I got the strength of 100 men and I dig the
Cool. Ben, this is Mike. I wish I was at the TPE meetup. Could have met you there.
How's it going, Mike?
Steve did some good work getting you on our show. We appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for coming on. On.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I have to, before we even start, just so I follow through on their promise. I went out drinking with KB and Mark last night.
Okay, yeah, I caught the tail end of that, like at maybe 3:30.
Really?
Yeah, like probably 3:30. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, that's why you sound like a little tired. I'm the same thing. No, but it was funny. I was talking to KB and I said, I really should do some. This Ben is such a complicated dude. This could be a tough interview kind of thing. He's like, just ask him why he isn't making more videos. Tell him to stop procrastinating. And then Mark chimed in. So I promised I would tell them that you have some obligation here to the TPE community to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the first thing I told him, Mike. KB's like, "Oh, Ben's here." I'm like, "Oh, is that Ben Reason?" He said, "Yeah." And I went over and I shook your hand and I said, "Your videos are freaking awesome, but the only problem is you only have 5 of them. You need more."
Yeah. I don't think I've seen 10:30 in like maybe 2 months, maybe. I don't know. It's been a long. Like I set my alarm and I just had one of those things where it's like, I think the alarm was in my dream for a good 10 minutes before I realized, oh fuck, my alarm's going off. Like,
that's why when I texted you about 9:30, you're like, I haven't seen 9:30 in months. Can we do something else?
Yeah, and 10:30 is the same. I haven't seen 10:30 as much as I haven't seen 9:30. Oh, it's all good. Maybe my voice will be better for radio this way.
There you go.
I'd like to not to take charge of the interview here, Steve, but rather than getting into the old, talk about how you got into poker and some of your bigger poker accomplishments. I'd like to dive into a couple subjects, especially the coaching aspect, because we've talked a couple of your horses here. We talked to Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, of course, speaks really highly of you, and we've had Doug Lyford and Jacob Triba on.
Right.
So, and it's interesting. I was reading an interview with you, and you were talking about, well, what's your greatest poker accomplishment? And you actually said being a successful coach. And I thought that was really interesting because you were talking about how, you're good at poker because the other guys you're teaching poker to are winning.
Right. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
So can I just ask, like,
okay.
About your stable a little bit? I mean, I don't know if this is like personal. Like I was asking Mark last night. I'm like, can you ask about how a stable works and like, what constitutes a coaching session? He's like, oh yeah. Ben will talk about that. So I mean, like right now, how does how many players are you coaching and how many are you financially invested in? And
I would say financially invested in off the top of my head. I guess that I stake, not just buy pieces of, probably around 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe a little more, but at least 15. And then like right now at the series, Mark and I are splitting pieces of whoever we buy, and that's at least 5 more, probably a few more than that. But yeah, as far as like staking and coaching goes, I would say 15. I have a private stable that I stake and coach that consists of 5 players. 4 of them are MTT players, and one of them is a spin and go player. And then Mark and I split 5 people. And then I have a spin and go stable of, probably like 6 or 7.
That's cool. That's got to really cut down on variance. No?
It's, I mean, yeah, like, yes and no, I guess. I mean, I don't really keep track of everything.
Okay.
Which is kind of bad, but like my guys win, and so it's just like, and I don't really, I'm like probably the type of person that doesn't like really look at my bankroll when I'm playing or even think about anything. I just play, I guess. And so it's like I almost don't contemplate variance in a way. But yes, like, yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely does. So,
yeah.
So your horses, are these guys that, I don't know, these are people you find in like staking forums and looking for someone online, and then you look at the results and they're, like a winning player, and you're like, well, if I coach them more, you talk to them a little bit, and they're like, well, okay, this guy's decent, but if I coach him, he could go from winning player to highly profitable.
Yeah, like I don't mess with forums like I used to. It got a lot hard. Like pre-Black Friday, at one point I staked or had a piece of like almost like 80 people.
Wow.
I was involved in like a lot more. It was a lot easier back then because like the pool was larger. I worked with more Europeans, not a bunch of entitled Americans. Like, you know, Europeans like work hard and shit.
Give me my money. Don't worry, I'll win it back for you.
Yeah, and like so after Black Friday, it got a lot tougher, and then like I kind of got burned more in some spots, and some of it was like, I mean, yeah, I could just like almost elaborate on the stuff. So it's post Black Friday, it got a lot more about. It's like you almost need the algorithm based on the way like someone lives their life. Like, okay, how old are they? Do they do drugs or not? What's their family life like? Based on the fact, you know, if they're gonna like roll you or not. Almost, it's like
right,
you know. So it's been a lot more of like, how well do I know this person? Like more recently, it's been like, okay, you know, do I know this person well? How many good people are vouching for him? Like I used to straight up message like people on 2+2 that I saw posting a lot. Like, and I'm looking, you know, the Shark Soap Rafts. Okay, they're picking a $3 sitting here. I'm gonna message them, see if they're interested in a staking coaching deal, and yada yada yada. And I would like, you know, like stake someone at the drop of a hat. Now it's like, you know, definitely based on a lot more things, I guess. But actually the spin and goes, it's like 6 Europeans and 1 American, which is like, I'm like, sweet. I get to work with Europeans again. It's been a while.
Okay.
And I've probably found them a little bit more loosely than I have my MTT Americans in the past 2 years, because again, they're just like more trustworthy, I guess.
And how do you do it? Do you back them with makeup, or do you you put up all the money and take 50% of the profits with no makeup, or like how do you do it?
Yeah, it depends. Like the spin and goes will probably end up giving them more, like better than a 50% cut at some point, because I would say there's less variance. You know, it's a little more consistent. MTTs, I don't really give anyone better than 50-50 with makeup. There's probably been some situations, but yeah.
So how about the actual coaching session for what do you? Is it like you're on Skype? With 4 or 5 people, and then you do like a hand history review, or?
Yeah, it's sometimes like that. I don't think any of my like superficial coaching sessions have ever been done live. I mean, granted, I would say at around midnight, me and 2 or 3 of my guys, we were just all around, you know, a computer and looking at a hand history. But yeah, I would say I like to gear a lot of my sessions one-on-one. But I definitely do a lot of group coaching sessions. And then for some of my more advanced guys, like I've even hired out like Ape Styles or Assassinata to do some group coaching sessions with them to work on some more advanced concepts. Because like Ape Styles definitely helps me with my game sometimes as well, and I still have a lot to improve on. So, but also it's like working with one person, it's a little bit better of a learning environment sometimes, because now it's like more mental game could be addressed, and they could be a little bit more open about their game. Because sometimes like when people are in a group and like you're critiquing their hand history, they could almost feel a little defensive. It might, you know, or insecure, and it might not be as conducive to learning.
If they're put on the defensive, then they're not absorbing what you're saying. Instead, they're feeling embarrassed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sensitive to that.
Okay. So how's your summer out here going, by the way? Have you been, I think you more, just asked Mark about you, and he said you're more of a cash game guy now.
Yeah, that's just a recent development this year. Summer's going good. I'm probably up around like 25K or something like that. Again, like I said, I don't really know much.
You know, your bag of cash is heavier than it was a month ago. Just
exactly.
the weight test.
Maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, I restacked everything. I'm like, okay, this is definitely more than I had. Yeah, it's going good. I haven't even played that many MTTs. I've had 2 final tables. Been winning at cash, so it's good. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
winning?
the night I met you, you just came off the final table at Binion's. You got 4th, I think, right?
Yeah, and I've played 1 MTT since then. Yeah.
and you cashed in that one as well?
No, it was a fun.
Oh, so there was one before that. Okay.
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny. I was talking to some of the guys in the TPE house and schedules, and they all use the same word over and over again: value. And of course,
Yeah.
I'm the guy who just wants to win a bracelet. So, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to play. I'm just wondering. You came in second in a bracelet event. Is that's not like something like? Well, I want to win a bracelet. For you, it's just coming out here and breaking it down and doing whatever's most profitable.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, even more so this year. I mean, like the decision to play cash. I mean, you're at the end of the day, like your hourly is probably gonna be better. You're gonna realize your equity more. There's less variance. It's definitely like fuck glory. I'm just gonna realize my equity. Yeah.
Right. I mean, doesn't being like at a final table. I mean, it was talking to this one buddy last night. And he's a guy who plays 10-20 and lives in Vegas, and makes a lot of money. And he's been, just running, but he likes the tournaments kind of, and he's been running deep in a few. But then I'm like, dude, just pray you don't actually win one of these things or final table. You'll never want to play cash again. He's like, no, I'll just take the money and go back to cash where I know how it is.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, yeah, I almost think because I've had this theory. I've even ran it by like a few psychologists that I would say that tournament players are more like
Our tournament players are what? You broke up a little bit.
Are more likely to be drug addicts.
Interesting.
Adrenaline junkies and who need sensation from some other, for sure.
Yeah, like the way like poker still functions in someone's brain, like gambling, like it still has that biological, dopamine rush. Like when, if you look at, there's like studies of, what's someone's brain look like when someone wins the lottery. Okay, it looks exactly like they're doing coke,
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and so it's like, I mean, tournament players, like, yeah, sure, we're plus EV, but I mean, biologically, intrinsically, like, we're still chasing after that high. And it's like playing a poker, like, it's weird, like playing a poker tournament, it feels different than playing a cash game for the most part. And it's like you have that rush, et cetera, and it's like whenever you have that big score, it's like you're chasing after the high again, and it's like, let's say like the first time I won $10,000, even the first time I won $1,000, like, I could still go back and say like winning that, like for me it's a third place in Midnight Madness for like 1.3 or 1.2 is still like actually like the best feeling I've had in playing poker. And then so say like the first time I won 10K, it was pretty insane. And like the next time you win 10K, okay, it kind of feels good, not as good as the first time. And then like, like say winning 10K at Binion, just like, all right, sweet. Like I'm not saying that I'm not happy about it. I mean, I'm definitely stoked, but like as far as like chasing after that, like feeling goes, it's like you have to just keep going more and more and more and more and more. And like your body's always going to be, chasing after that, that form of stimulation.
You're just the carpenter with another 2x4 in his hand each day. It's like, just trying to treat.
Yeah, I mean, like ideally we could be objective over everything. So like playing cash or tournaments wouldn't feel any different, and we would just decide what to grind, based on how often we're realizing our equity, yada yada yada. But some of it really just has to come down to the feeling of it, and what our body's chasing after, I think.
That's interesting. I read through a little bit of your blog, and
cool.
The part that really interests me is the meditation part. My wife recently has gotten into some meditation and like that, and I shared with her some of your videos on there, and she liked it a lot.
Cool.
And
sweets.
Yeah. Anyways, I read about that you did a 10-day silent retreat where there's no talking, no writing, no phones, no technology, where you basically
Yeah,
just sit and
yeah,
meditate. That's pretty gnarly, dude. I read that. I read about that in a book by Michael Crichton called Travels, where he did one of those, and he had nothing but good things to say
nice.
about it. But I guess my question
Yeah.
is what I do before a session is I listen to an Elliot Rowe tape or I listen to some other hypnosis tape on focus
Hmm.
or determination or something like that. And that's to me is meditation. But I'm learning as my wife is getting into this, she uses these little beads and she almost like rosary beads, like a Catholic would use, except it's for, I can't remember the
Okay.
name of it. I think it's called a mala. Anyway, she uses
Okay.
that and that's meditation for her. Like what do you do before and after a session that I know you're into meditation? Like what do you do for it? What's meditation to you and how do you prepare for it?
Meditation to me, I guess I could be specific and say like I do or practice Vipassana meditation or I guess the Western version is called mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's the type of meditation that's been studied the most by Western science, neuroscience, and has like I guess the most evidence for formulating changes in the brain.
Positive results and okay.
Yeah, and so for like me, meditation is, I guess it's the practice or the act of practice of getting yourself to stay in the present because that's like where we're most happy. Like if we're dwelling in the past, like that's depressive thinking, and if you worry about something in the future, that's anxiety. And in reality, like everything I worry about is like everything we worry about or like freak out about, usually it's like it's still there or it still exists, later on, but like, now we're not worried about it all of a sudden. So it's just like, usually the here and now it's like is the happiest. And so it's like, if you're just constantly returning back to your breath, something that's always there, something that's always in the present, that causes you, like it's an anchor and it causes your thoughts to come back to the present. Like let's say you get, whatever, 2 out in the tournament and you've been on a downswing. Mike or Steve, whoever it was, I was listening to the podcast recently and you're like, oh, I break 14 tournaments in a row. It's been kind of bad,
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. And it's like you could start to like question, your future because like a lot of times when we tilt, it's not about the money, it's about our lack of ability, or it's like our worry about making money in the future.
Okay.
The future is uncertain. And so we could start saying like a lot of like having like a lot of negative self-talk, but that's, really not present thinking. We're just like worried about things that haven't even happened yet. And like a lot of those times like those thoughts are untrue.
Yeah, we don't even know if it's going to happen, and we're just creating stress over something that there's
Yeah.
no point to it. Yeah.
I thought it was. I think I
Right,
watched
yeah.
this. I watched the same video as Steve, and I think there was one. She's like, there was this great scientist called Buddha,
Yeah.
and that was you never heard.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just jumped out at you how some of these old sort of Eastern religions, whatever you call it, are actually there's the science is now kind of
Yeah,
catching
for
up with
sure.
them, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, like one of my favorite books that is regarding that. It's Buddha's Brain, and it does a good job of like merging the two, like Western neuroscience with like the Eastern philosophy. Buddha's Brain, the practical neuroscience, or the practical science to like wisdom, love, and happiness. And like anyway, so like let's say we're on a pretty big downswing. A lot of times we're just like reflecting on the past and not thinking of what's going on and like worrying about the past. I mean, again, the science of it, causes your brain to act in such a way. Your amygdala engages, which is the reptilian part of the brain, fight
the
or
lizard
flight,
brain, yeah.
and yeah, exactly, lizard brain, and it shuts down your prefrontal cortex, which is what we use for logic and reasoning and poker. So yeah, it's just and like I guess the way the Vipassana retreat is, you're sort of scanning your body, every single piece of your body, and thinking like if it feels good, like if you have a good sensation, you don't cling to it, you just observe it and accept it. And if you feel a negative sensation somewhere in your body, you don't cling to it or you don't shy away from it. You just accept it. So if you could be objective about, again, you're just being objective about your emotions and not trying to, cling on to something good or something bad. That way, when something positive or negative comes up, then you just, like in the real life situation, you just accept it and, take it for what it is.
Okay.
If I may ask about good sensations. On this trip, your girlfriend looks, if it's the same girlfriend, your blog doesn't really have dates by year. I don't know if it's the same girlfriend you have. She's pretty cute. And you announced that you were going to be going to this thing for 2 weeks, or you said we probably won't be speaking to each other.
Okay, yeah.
Did you actually stick to that? I mean, your girlfriend, you're, probably in the mountains somewhere beautiful.
So,
you really...
So, yeah, my girlfriend at the time, yeah.
Okay, ex-girlfriend, I got you.
Yeah, but yeah, she totally went, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I saw her at all, maybe. So it's like my good poker friend went as well. Like, both of our girlfriends went, and it's like the guys and girls are totally staying somewhere separate because, I mean, they try and facilitate of you being alone as much as possible, but they can only do it to the certain degree that, like, I mean, you at least should be, away from, your girlfriend or whatever.
Right.
Or, like, your significant other, 'cause, like, it should be like you're alone. I think I probably saw his girlfriend because, I mean, you're seated in a room for the bigger meditation sessions with, like, 100, 200 people, and the guys are on one side, the girls on one side. I think she was like, his girlfriend was like sitting on the edge somewhere where, like, I saw her, but I don't know if I knew where my girlfriend was sitting. She was like crowd somewhere. But yeah, I mean, so it's like, it's kind of like you're supposed to be pretty much like by yourself alone. You're not supposed to make eye contact with
what the heck?
Anyone there because,
that's
like,
impressive.
well, I mean, it's like, yeah.
After meditating for 10 hours, can't you reward yourself with a margarita and a little fun time with the lady? I mean, I don't understand. I guess it defeats the purpose, but...
Yeah. Not at all.
Okay, so when what's my question? How can I say it? Okay, so before a session, I lay down on my bed and I listen to an Elliott Rowe tape. What's your, do you sit on the couch and do ohms, or I'm fascinated by this. There's got to be an edge to it because so many professional poker players do meditation, and if there's an edge in doing meditation a little bit differently or adding something to my pre-warm-up routine or my cool-down routine, then I want to do it.
Yeah.
And
before you even answer the question, too, I'd like to also say, because that was another phrase that came out. You referred to working on my meditation game. So I'm sure you're gonna. It's not just a one answer. It's something you got to improve at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess meditation game, just working on my whatever game, working on my sock game. Saying game after something is something you just put at the end of everything. But I mean, like, meditation to me, I mean, it's like almost like a way of life, like a mindful way of living, and it improves every aspect of your life, not just poker. It improves, like, the taste of your food. It improves conversation with other people.
Wow.
Because it's like, you're focused on what you're doing, and a lot of times we're, on automatic default mode, and, like, life is kind of passing you by and you're there, but your mind could be in the past or present, and it's just, you're not really engaged in the moment, it's like sort of like whenever like you're driving along and let's say you put a song on and then like 5 minutes later you're like, wow, I did not even hear that song. And you have to like go back and like turn it on and listen to it. Like, so a lot of our lives.
When you watch TV while you're eating, you're not really enjoying the food. You're just kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's
calories.
Like, where if you close your eyes and focus on the taste of your food, it's like, whoa, that tastes a lot better, Yeah, I even contemplated eating all my meals with chopsticks because it makes you like slow down and like taste your food. But anyways, so yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think I interrupted Steve, so you didn't get the specific information maybe he wanted, which is like physically, do you have like a place you go to, kind of,
Yeah, do you do ohms or what? Do you do for 10 minutes or an hour or what do you do?
I have a few meditation apps that I use. One's Mindfully Me. And it's just a guided meditation app, he's, guiding you to go back and return to your breath. And then the other one is Headspace. That one's a little bit better. Those meditations are different. But again, they're guided meditations, and that's probably like the closest Vipassana guided meditation that I've found.
Okay.
And those are all 10 minutes. And sometimes like I just have some timers, like you could like download like a meditation timer probably for free, where you could set it to like, okay, I want to do a 20-minute meditation and I want the chimes to go off like every 3 minutes because, when you're meditating, you're just observing the nature of your own mind, seeing how your own mind reacts, and like, your mind goes off and wanders a lot of crazy places. And so like if you have like the chimes every minute or every 3 minute, that's just something that, it goes off to remind you to return to the breath, to return to the present.
Okay.
So it's definitely best if you meditate in the same spot every day, at least for a while, just to get used to it. Since I've been in Vegas, I'll just kind of sit down on my bed, and meditate. And, that usually like my routine is like I'll wake up, like have, breakfast and maybe either read or check my computer for some business stuff real quick, and then go to the gym, come back, like protein shake, shower, meditate, and then, get ready, and then I'm ready, I guess.
Okay. And your thoughts while you're meditating, you're only thinking about breathing, or are you thinking to yourself peace, or are you saying like some mantra about like I'm a professional poker player? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, not at all. Like ideally, you're just focusing on your breath or the sensation of your breath, or like before you get into Vipassana, which is like scanning your body for sensations. You start out by like just being aware of the sensations of your breath. So if I'm like my eyes are closed and I'm breathing through my nose, I'm just focusing on the breath coming in and out of my nose and feeling that. Okay. And that's it. That's ideal. Like, but I would say of 95% of the time, my thoughts are wandering elsewhere, and it's just, really interesting to see, where your thoughts go. And yeah. So but like ideally, like I would be focused on the breath the entire time, but it's definitely not like that because all of our minds are very busy.
Yeah, they wander off and go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's interesting.
I also hate to just race around to different subjects here, but there's like a lot of different kind of stuff that I want to touch upon.
Yeah,
your life was interesting, so I was just going to ask. It's interesting you like the European players more, because just reading your blog, I'm like, this man has a very continental, very cultured. I mean, just like you're talking with your girlfriend. You're a violinist.
Okay,
and you're just describing how you and your girlfriend are doing like symphonies after work or something. And I immediately want to ask, like, what was your family like? I mean, were your parents like of the arts and that kind of thing? Or?
My mom certainly is. She is a violin teacher, orchestra director herself. My parents are both from California, actually. So I've been playing since I was 3, I guess. My mom's been playing, most of her life. She's the musician of the family, and like she taught all of me and my 2 older sisters. My dad worked for State Farm for a while. He's been retired for a few years. But they decided to move to Texas because they wanted to raise a family there. So it's like my oldest sister was born in Texas, moved back to California for a while. I had my second sister and then moved back to Texas. So I've been in Texas my entire life.
Okay.
But I'd say like I've definitely got to experience and been exposed to quite a few things. I mean, had a good childhood and everything.
Any care to do a top 3 list of favorite symphonies or pieces of classical music for those who might listen to this and want to expand their horizons a little bit, and not just listen to contemporary stuff?
I would say Chopin. He's probably my favorite to listen to. He's a pianist. Some of his nocturnes, I would say, are quite calming.
Sublime.
People are probably familiar with Claire de Lune. That's like, yeah, you've heard that on, I think Ocean's 11. It's one of the background pieces, and that's by WC.
Okay.
And then actually it's Meditation by Thais from an opera. I can't remember what opera it's from, but you could typically either find that on violin or cello or piano. When I listen to classical music, I definitely like the more calm pieces, but I mean, there's some awesome symphonies by Berlioz or Beethoven that you could check out. Yeah, so I like those three pieces a lot, and those are definitely on the more calm side. Yeah.
But also, as like I guess I wanted to kind of segue back into poker. I mean, isn't Stravinsky just much more interesting than poker? I mean, are you guys going to get, are you guys going to get bored with poker? Because it's just, I mean, there's novels and classical music, and there's other stuff which is just more interesting. Is that?
Okay,
I don't know if that's a weird question, but.
Wait, so is Stravinsky more interesting?
Well, I know. I mean, not specifically to comment on Stravinsky, but it's just kind of like of your many interests that you have, like poker would seem to be the least stimulating on a certain level. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it just kind of depends. Like, I think that's sort of why I switch games so much. That's why I'm more interested in live cash right now, because it's like one of the forms of poker that I haven't in my mind, beaten over a very large sample.
Yeah, mastered yet.
Yeah, it's like I've done well in live MTTs, online MTTs, like 18 mans, 45 man, 6-max hypers, spin and goes, heads ups, whatever. So it's like, okay, I haven't, done live cash that much. Let's do that.
Have you done all no limit hold'em, or have you dabbled in like PLO or?
I've very slightly dabbled in PLO, and it's been like on the tentative to-do list for like a year or two to like seriously get involved in it. And actually, me and Sanford shook hands yesterday, because like I kind of said something previously. It's like like each year I should probably be playing like a 1500 event that gets me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And so we shook hands that we're playing the Dealer's Choice next year, which is pretty intense. And
that's going to require some work, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Deuce to 7. So, I played some mixed games and some PLO, and like I would say I'm definitely like plus EV and like probably 2.5 and 5.10 PLO live, but I haven't really put in like a huge sample or anything. Like I bought hours from like a mid stakes coach like 2 years ago for PLO, and I haven't even used them yet.
Oh,
so yeah,
well, that sounds like you're getting that. Dealer's Choice is pretty ambitious, But if you could, if you could pick one other game, and then just kind of focus on that for a month or so, I bet you'd have a big edge.
Yeah.
Use your coaching hours and just focus on. It sounds like PLO is the way to go.
We'd like to
much interested in.
We'd like to do a strategy hand with you, if that's okay too. I have a hand I played yesterday from the Planet Hollywood
Sweet
Poker Open. I think I'm going to do this one a little differently.
Okay.
I'm going to give you I'm not going to tell you what I have, and you're going to be the villain, or I'm going to be the villain, depending on.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I thought this would do things a little differently here.
Okay.
It is level 3 of the tournament, so the big blind is 100, 200, no ante.
Okay.
And quickly, you're a little under starting stack. I mean, obviously, you would be different. This villain, by the way, or the guy who you are, I like tweeted about it. Like the second or third hand of the tournament, he 3-bet from the small blind, a middle position opener, and triple barreled with king 3 off. It was called by pocket jacks on the river. There was one over. There was a queen.
Okay.
Although he's really
how old is the guy?
25 or so. Although
okay.
I would describe him as a pro. Although he's one of those guys who just thought he was gonna. I mean, there was this
with
table
like
was
air quotes pro.
Well, I don't know. It's just it wasn't. This was a really aggressive table. Like as much as I've ever seen early stages of the tournament. I just couldn't believe how many big pots and Yeah. I have trouble staying away from that myself. So everyone had their dick out wagging it around the table, I guess. But this guy, so he was down, but then he got back up a little bit. But he's certainly someone who is going to see as seen as aggressive and doesn't have to have it. But so in this particular hand, you have ace 4 of hearts.
Are effective stacks 20K now, or did you
Yeah,
throw
pretty
off?
much.
Okay.
I am directly on your left, and I'm going to be the main villain in this hand, and I have about 25K. But we're very deep.
Okay.
Everybody
So,
has
100 bigs.
Yeah, 100
ish.
bigs. Yes, 100 bigs. And you get a UTG opens to 425,
Okay.
and then the hijack calls 425.
Okay.
And where are you and where's the villain, Mike?
Ben is in the cutoff, and I'm on the button.
Okay, so you guys aren't even in there yet. Okay, you teach.
No, not even-
okay.
So now it's just quickly to first thing, do you fold, raise, or call this hand, ace 4 of hearts?
Oh, if I'm in the hijack?
No, the hijack called. There's 2 people
Oh,
who've
and
already
I'm
put
in the
425 in the pot, and you were on the
Eight-
cutoff.
Ace 4 of hearts, I personally would be calling.
Okay. That is what you do. You call.
All right.
In case you were wondering how you played this hand, that's what you did.
Well, we don't
Okay.
have to break that one down. I think that is pretty much, it's, too good a hand to fold, obviously, and
Yeah, do the same thing.
that deep. I don't see a reason to 3-bet and build the pot with it either. But I am next to act in the cutoff, and I mean in the button, and I call as well.
Okay.
And both blinds fold.
Okay.
So quickly do the
We're
math.
four-handed. There's like 17K-ish in the pot. Or like 19,
but the other 300 is
18. There's 18K in the pot.
Yes.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, exactly. The so
1800.
Right. Yeah, sorry.
the flop comes
Yeah.
8 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 4 of clubs,
Okay.
and the original raiser checks, the hijack checks, and then it's on to you.
Okay, wait. 8 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 4 of clubs?
Yes, he has
Okay.
8 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 4 of clubs. So you have the nut flush draw and bottom pair.
Okay.
Check isn't bad. I'd probably check it like in a 3-handed pot and a heads-up pot for sure. I think here betting for value and to protect equity is going to be good because like we have really good equity right now, but I mean even if like a few villains have any overs, like letting them realize equity kind of sucks. So pots like 18K, I mean I can imagine I'm probably just like throwing out a 1,000 chip in there. Yeah, I'm probably gonna bet.
Well, this player happens to have bet 900, so he was in the same.
It's fine for sure.
He was in the same thinking as you. And the main villain to your left, who is me, he raises to 2,200. And
Okay.
the next 2 players, the other 2 players quickly fold, and the action is back on you.
We should just call, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go into the Steve. Do you want to help him talk about the villain here? What kind of player he is? Well, basically, you and I have already played one pretty big pot here, blind versus blind. Like I said, it was just insanely aggressive, where you had raised my blind and I had 3-bet, and you had 4-bet, and I personally flatted with Jack 8 of hearts, planning to just float the flop and maybe take it down on the turn. But you had double barreled. It was like Queen 7 deuce. Like it was the worst flop forever for Jack 8, pretty much. And you barreled twice. You barreled twice and took a nice pot off me.
Okay.
But thereafter, I think I'd shown myself to play competently and had chipped. Got a couple hands and chipped up. And that's why I was up to 26K or whatever it was.
Okay.
So, anyways,
yeah. So okay. Well, let's say like from my perspective with Ace 4, if someone's raising me there, like. The fact that I'm betting into 3 people, although a pretty aggressive image, like, I have to have some sort of like equity here. Like I guess one of the not so good hands I might be betting into 3 people when check 2. It also kind of depends, like if Under the Gun checks pretty quick and like hijack checks pretty quick, I could sort of gauge their strength and maybe they're done with the hand And so now I could bet into like 3 people, but I'm really like betting into 1 person, but it looks like my perceived range looks a lot stronger
Right.
because I'm betting into 3 people, and also depends, how well people are paying attention. But like, yeah, my betting range might be like the bottom of it. So it's like 8, 4, 5, 8, 4, or 8, 5 hearts for X, right?
Yeah, 8 of hearts, 5 of hearts,
four
4
clubs.
Yeah, 4x. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we could be betting with something like 9, 10 of clubs or 10 jack of clubs, backdoor wheel draws, like ace deuce of clubs, something
What
like
do we
that.
think about the villain's range here for the raising?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I'm almost like we have to like see what
I'm sorry. Yeah.
like the bottom of our ranges. Like, but we also have like sets and overs of flush draws as well. Just like our entire range. So your range, like because of the fact that our range, is a bit stronger betting into 3 people. Like I think our range is pretty tight here. We're obviously, I mean, I think we're gonna have like 2. I guess you're gonna have some 2 pairs here. Yeah, you
Probably
totally
only
have
5-4 though, right? I mean,
yeah. You can totally have
you're not
like
calling
5
there with
4
8-5 or
combos.
8-4. Maybe sets.
Sets.
The nuts is 6-7 right now.
Oh, 6-7.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could totally see you raising with like 6-7. Calling wouldn't be bad, but we should put that in your range here too. And then, flush draws with overs that we dominate. So it's like, I'm still calling because like I think our equity versus that range is still good enough to be calling. We have some implied odds because we have the nut draw. So, and like our
Okay,
image is pretty bad themselves. So,
This guy did just call.
yeah.
And the turn is the 8 of diamonds.
Okay.
So there's 8-8-5-4. I'm assuming you're always checking to the villain here, or
For sure.
the villain. The pot is now, by the way, 6,200 heading to this,
Okay.
and the villain bets just 2,000.
Okay. Call. Probably. Yeah.
What is this? What do you think he's doing that with? Does that change the way you think about his range, or?
I think we could be betting 2,000 with like a lot of our range, so it keeps our options open on the river. I mean, like some guys will be in the habit of checking boats back on the turn. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest because we're missing value. I would say for the most part, it can be. It's like a bit of a stronger range, but I think we could still be doing that with a lot of our range. I guess we're not really doing that with any 2-pair combos anymore. It kind of sucks because of like it generally is a pretty strong range. Let's see, 2,000, 6,000. So
There's
like,
80. There's 8,200 in the pot, so just 2,000 to call.
Yeah, 2,000, trying to win like 8K. I would say direct odds plus some implied, like we're still getting like an okay price. I would say someone's range when they're betting 2K in that spot, like live, I mean, it's generally going to be geared toward value a little bit more. But we can't make too many assumptions if we've only played with them like through BB200 and we haven't seen like an insane amount of showdowns yet.
Okay, and so indeed, this player just calls. So there's now 10,200 chips in the pot. Pretty big pot for 100, 200, no ante. And the river is a 5 of spades, I believe. So the final board is 8-5-4-8-5.
Oh, sounds like you're about to get called by ace high, I guess maybe. Okay, so we check.
You're sniffing this one out here, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, actually, I'm going to ask your timing on the flop and the turn now, too.
I try to get, I actually used to just act quickly and erratically, and I try to do, if I'm going to be in a pot, if I'm going to bet, I have my 9-second rule. That's
and you
I think I stuck to it. Yeah, all 3 streets.
Hey, very nice. Good.
So I don't think I gave away anything with timing. And me and the villain actually talked about this hand afterwards. He liked to tell me how much smarter than me he was. So he was,
Of course.
he's actually lived in Brooklyn, but he was born in Russia. We talked a little bit, but
Super
he checks.
good.
I bet the villain bets 6,800.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
and
I mean, this guy, I mean, maybe we don't even have to ask your opinion on it. We can do it just afterwards. This guy snap calls. He's like, do you have quads?
that's I mean that's fair because like you're polarized. So
Yeah, he basically just said from the beginning, he's like, that's not a flop. I mean, like when I broke it down, he's like, that's not a flop you're ever raising with one pair. So I would either have a straight, which of course I would not be betting on the river, or I would have to have hit my set would have had to hit quads with either the
Right.
8 or the 5.
yeah, you're like to me it's like I mean from my perspective, villain is super polarized and usually by like the river based on like timing and based on like body mannerisms, like how your breathing is, like were you breathing hard, were you fairly calm, we could almost like so like when someone's so polarized, like usually in a live environment, we're getting a vibe or a sense on how they are.
Well, I'm
You
always
know,
in a
it-
state of utter hysteria, so you can't get reads from me from that. Because I'm like, where's the goddamn cocktail waitress? Jeez, look at that chick over there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that might
Yeah.
there might have been a live read, but afterwards he said it was very card dependent. He's like, you basically never have a hand there other than quads.
Well, it's like also like whenever you're betting that big on the river, it's at that point you sort of have to gear your sizing towards like a hand that you could get value from. And so it's like something that he's calling, I guess he could have like 6-7 himself, that we could still be value betting for because of the misdraw. But it's like, yeah, our sizing, it's just almost hard to get value from anything. So like, I don't know.
So if
maybe
I
we
was,
could
if I actually had quad eights, if you had quad eights in my spot, you'd be betting probably 40% a pot, like, or even less, 3,900, trying to get called by ace high.
The river paired.
That was the worst river for you, Mike. It really was.
Right.
Man.
Well, I don't know, but I think I just wasn't meant to win this pot. He had a pair too. He had 4, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
by the
it
river,
really
you
just,
still just got ace high.
I guess it just depends on. I guess it really just depends on image and villain. Like, I mean, if they're Russian, or Brazilian or something, or just go hard. Like, yeah, we could probably size it because like the hands that we are getting value from, it's like tens and jacks is relatively reasonable because a lot of people are still just calling there on the cutoff, and like 6-7 is reasonable to get value from as well, and. All of those hands are bluff catching at that point. So like, yeah, if I did have, a boat or quads or whatever, I guess betting that big is somewhat reasonable, but I might be betting a little bit, just a wee bit smaller. But yeah.
Okay, I just thought this was an interesting hand. It's one of those where, took a while for me to decompress from that because I thought I had played it well, and obviously I had not.
Yeah, interesting hand. I like the line that you took, that you made him the villain too. That made it cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Yeah, that he read it so well. I thought the guy obviously did a good job there.
What'd you have, like King Jack or something, or King?
I had 10. That's right. We didn't even say. I had 10-7 of spades, so I flopped a gutter ball, and I thought just that flop. I was since I was on the button, I was the person most likely to. And again, the first two guys, like you kind of said, checked so quickly. I know they didn't have a hand. It was already a heads-up pot in my mind, and I just thought that flop hit me better than it hit him. And once I check raise, I'm gonna barrel away and try to take it down. So,
Okay.
probably should shut it down on the river there, I guess. But I don't know. I think a lot of people are folding their ace high there. Especially, I'd seen the guy been. Yeah, no, I knew he was good, but well, whatever is interesting. I put that up on the Twitter feed, and there was everybody, of course, was chiming in, and someone's like, "Well, your turn size bet gave it away," and this and that. And I think this guy just put me on the proper range for the flops.
I like your turn sizing. I like your turn sizing.
Yeah, well, I defended that. I said, well, I would definitely do that with some nutty hands, that kind of sizing, just to keep them in and price them in for a river bet kind of thing.
Yeah. Your turn sizing's fine.
So should we have we taken enough of Mr. Reason's time here? Actually, the other thing I wanted to ask, I'm just jumping around here, is I from your blog, I saw you talking about how the pleasure you take in reading a novel in novels.
Yeah, the novel thing is a little more recent.
Okay. I was just wondering if I'm always trying to learn new things here. If you have any, the best couple novels maybe you've read recently, if there's anything.
I've just been reading, let's see, I'm reading, I'd say the two books I'm reading right now is Bird by Bird, I guess. Instructions on Writing and in Life.
Is that Anna Lamont or something? I forget who wrote that one.
Yeah, I believe so. That sounds about right. It's like, it has to do with like perfectionism and things like that. And then the last book I just read was Jonathan Troper's This Is Where I Leave You, I think.
Okay.
Which, yeah, This Is Where I Leave You, which, like, a lot of his books, they have sort of the same type of protagonist. So you might want to, like, actually, like, just maybe not read all of them in a row. Like, I think I read, like, 3 books of his in a row so far. But they're good. It's like usually someone who's like in their upper 20s or like lower 30s, and they're kind of like up in their own head, sort of like an anxious type person. So like probably a lot of poker players could sort of relate with the protagonist in there.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've definitely enjoyed them. So yeah.
Steve, do you have any more questions for Ben? I got to.
Let's see. No, not that I can think of. Do you have any plugs that you'd like to put in for? Maybe future horses or students or.
Yeah, like I guess just blog. If you plug my blog, musiclifepoker.blogspot.com. Twitter @reasons14. Obviously there's Tournament Poker Edge. Run Good Gear as well. And I'd say as far as plugs go, that's probably about it.
Run Good Gear?
Yeah, Run Good Gear. They a t-shirt company based out of Oklahoma, and they're running some series. They're also a clothing line as well. I'm part of the Run Good Gear team, and they're sort of having they have a lot of like $600 re-entry, 100Ks. I think you've even gotten around like a 200K prize pool. Like I think we've been at Council Bluffs, a few spots in Oklahoma. I think we're going to New Orleans this year. So yeah, rungoodgear.com.
Okay, cool. I'll put them in the show notes.
Cool. Are any of your horses playing the Planet Hollywood $1 Million tournament? I'm in day 2 of that today. I want to know who to stay away from.
Yeah, I got a Sweat. He's got around 240K. So
is that Nathan?
Yeah, and then
okay.
I have a piece of I think I have another piece in there as well. It's like a smaller piece though.
Well, there's good players all around. I wasn't. Yeah, it was just kind of
nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Unless I'm playing heads up with Steve, it's difficult wherever you go in poker. But yeah.
Are you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just asking how much you bagged and how much you're going today with it.
I bagged 224,000. So
nice.
Yeah, above average stack, a working stack. Yeah, so. The 2 big stacks on my table are on my right. Maybe it's setting up for a good run. We'll have to see.
The dominoes are all in line, man.
Yeah. Mike, were you about to say something?
Oh, I was going to ask. I was reviewing a tournament last night that I played a little while ago, and I saw Reasons 14 was at my table for 20 or 30 hands. Is that you on Winning Poker Network?
Yeah, it's definitely me. What tournament was that? I haven't played what tournament was that?
It was a $30 re-entry, like a 12,500 guarantee.
Wow, how long ago was that? I was probably mashing it in.
Filling up a corner space somewhere.
That's definitely me.
Okay, right on.
He was actually playing that tournament with his toes while he was playing his violin. He was so disinterested.
Yeah, like I played 2 online sessions this month, and I'm trying to remember if I even loaded up anything on Winning. But if anything, am I like re-entering a lot with like 10 big blinds and just like ripping it in, or
No. You.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I thought when I was reviewing this tournament, I was like, Reason's 14. I'm all, well, this is kind of ironic because we're having him on the show tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that's him. And I looked through it, and we didn't play any hands other than you raised my big blind once. You had position on me, and I had like a 7-4 or something. And I just folded, so there was no hands that we played together. Otherwise, I would have brought it.
Well, Steve, you got to get even somehow for that one.
Yeah.
Stealing your blind.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I thought, oh man, I hope I find a hand here, but I only have I think it was 23 hands on you, and I was like, oh, maybe we've played a hand together, but I guess not.
Yeah, so. Alas, yeah, maybe soon.
Yes.
Well, Ben, thanks for coming on. I wish I stuck around at the bar an extra 9 minutes. I guess I would have met you last night, but at 3:30, I had enough for whatever time I left.
I'm sure we'll run into each other at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And we'll let you get back to sleep. We appreciate you getting up early here.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, man. You have a good rest of the day.
I appreciate it. You guys too. Good luck in the restart.
Thanks, man.
Okay. You can hit us up on Twitter at HUP Podcast. Check out our blog, headsuppokerpodcast.blogspot.com. Like us on Facebook, Heads Up Poker Podcast. And you can email us with any hands, any suggestions you have, headsuppokerpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. Fear is a choice.
Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. I want your dream to be so clear that when you wake up in the morning, all you got to do is step in your dream. And the first step for me was seeing something I was not before I was. You can do it. Where you are is temporary. You will not be there for the rest of your life. I don't care what happens in your life. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care where you are. Every single day you wake up, if you're going to have energy, if you're going to have passion, if you're going to have drive, every day you wake up, you got to start with that vision. This is a mentality. Like, you got to live this. You got to eat this. Every single thing you do is not a cute saying. It is a way of life. It's got to possess everything you do. It's got to own you. There's no reason to have a plan B as a distraction of plan A. I want to see how far I can go. I want to see what I can accomplish. I want to see what I can do, what I can be, what I can have. I want to see. I don't want to see what I think I can do. I don't want to see what I think is possible. I want to see what my life would look like if I didn't count the cost and if I was willing to go further than anybody else was willing to do.